Good morning, welcome to TERRA at Home. We're here with Colleen Zimmerman from TERRA, and we are talking about getting, kind of growing a little bit of a vegetable garden, but keeping it quite contained.
Yes.
Okay, because some people don't have all the space in the world these days.
Yeah, if you do have a garden to plant vegetables, that's great. You can plant some really neat things, but that doesn't mean you can't have vegetables if you don't have a garden.
So that's what we love about this. Some people are condo dwellers, living in apartments, have small balconies, but you can still do what you need to do. Any differences though? I mean, as you say, when you have a full-size garden, you can go crazy and have all kinds of things. Are there certain things that you just can't really put in a container?
Well, pumpkins are kind of hard in a container. You can, however, do zucchinis because there are dwarf varieties of zucchinis.
Okay, there you go.
And a few other things like that that you know that you wouldn't expect. Cucumbers you can do in containers as well.
Okay. Yeah,
so
yeah,
there's most aspects of things you can grow in containers as well.
Okay, and that's the thing when you walk into the garden center and you look around TERRA, there are so many different seeds, so many different plants. You have to kind of just sort of establish, what do I like to eat the most, right? What am I going to use? Don't just grow things for the fun of it, or you're going to be giving it away to your neighbors all summer, right?
Unless you really want your neighbors to like you, and then that might be a good idea.
I always like when my neighbors knock on my door and give me their tomatoes. So, all right. So tell me about some of the plants that we have here.
So, like you said, tomatoes is one of the great things that you can grow in pots. There are lots of newer varieties that are very compact, like a cherry tomato plant in one pot is great, and you can just be constantly eating every day a handful of tomatoes off the plant.
How great is that?
I know, my kids love that.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Kids love them, and they're easy. You can throw them in salads and do all kinds of things with them, and they are just, as you say, they just
keep going. And that's the thing with a lot of vegetables, is that the better they do is the more that you pick them. So the more you harvest, the more you'll get.
Okay.
So, and herbs, same thing with those. The more you use them, lettuces, the more you use them, the more they'll keep flourishing because they just keep wanting to grow after you kind of cut some of them out.
That's handy.
Oh,
it's always a good thing, isn't it? And some people love, I notice we have some hot pepper plants. People love to have the varieties of hot peppers that we have here, is great for people. Some people just get a real kick out of it in the summer.
Yeah, there's everything from, your traditional bell peppers right up to hot, burn your mouth off hot.
Yeah, seriously. And some people love that feeling. I don't know how you taste your food, but you know what? Some people love it, right? Just go for it.
Yeah, so peppers are another thing that grow really well in containers. Sure. And so with the tomatoes and the peppers, we have tons of varieties of them, hot and not so hot. Tomatoes, we have the nice compact ones, the cherry tomatoes. We have a lot of heirloom tomatoes too. So we have the ones that are the bright oranges and the ones that almost are heart-shaped, they're just huge. And they can grow in containers as well.
That's great. And you know what? And again, it's really all about your preference. Some people just love having an herb garden, so lots of access to different types of herbs to go out and just, again, something obviously you can have in your kitchen, but to be able to have them in the outdoors and it's nice. Yeah,
it's great to have the herbs right by the barbecue too. Even some of the vegetables, just throw it on the barbecue just like that. With the bell peppers, you could have that fire roasted pepper just by pick one off the plant, put it on your grill, ready to go.
Wow, that's how nice is that? And again, we're so socked in for so many months of the year where we forget about our outdoor space and that we can do this stuff too. Okay, so you're going to actually plant something for us.
Yes, one of the things that is great is that you can have company over and provide them something that you've made out of homegrown vegetables. So something like a salsa here that's really super easy to do. I'm going to show you how to plant a salsa planter.
Oh wow, that's neat. Actually,
so you can theme
nice
your planter, so not just having a tomato or lettuce. So all you have to do, have a big enough pot to put a few plants in here. So we have, this is a yellow tomato, so you can vary the colors of tomatoes that you have as well. So we'll just fit it in here. This is a nice low pot too.
It is. It's
so
nice.
It's not, it's not going to take up too much space in your garden or in your patio. So I have a tomato, and we'll put two different kinds of tomatoes so you can make an even more colorful one. So this one is actually a black cherry tomato. Oh. So they kind of go purple.
Oh, that's cool.
So they go from green to kind of a dark purpley color.
Wow, neat.
So, and when you're starting with plants that aren't quite fully grown, you do want to leave enough space because they are going to get bigger.
Okay.
So you don't want to, this is something that you don't want to cram pack
through we were with some of the flowers that we have. Okay.
And then this one here, we just have a habanero pepper, so it's kind of in the middle. It's not going to burn your mouth off, but it'll give some spice to your salsa.
It is a nice idea to do this though, right? Because you're just creating that one, it's a one spot, you just a little straw pop here, boom, boom, a little bit of this, and
great gift idea too for somebody just moving in.
I was just thinking that is actually a really great idea. Can you imagine your neighbor moving in and I'd love to someone receive this instant salsa in a pot.
Yeah, and this is, we have the cilantro.
Right.
So we'll put some cilantro around the edge here.
It's definitely one of those herbs I use a ton of in the summer. Cilantro and basil.
Yes, basil. I love basil. I have so much basil around my house.
Yeah.
So let's tuck in some basil here. Then something else, not necessarily for salsa, but this also lends itself to tomato sauces and, you know, for pastas and whatnot, is some oregano.
Oregano, sure.
Just the smells of all of this is just incredible too.
And I think it's funny, you know, some people will plant a lot of flowers, but they don't, you know, I know I've always sort of shied away from planting vegetable garden. Even though I've always wanted to have a vegetable garden. I'm always afraid I'm going to do something wrong or something.
It's so easy.
Yeah.
Most vegetables and herbs do take full sun. So if you have a really shady spot, there are a few things that grow in the shade. But for this particular one, you'll need a lot of sun, and then you'll get lots of tomatoes, lots of peppers, and the herbs will just flourish.
And what's great about something like this is that you can move this around, so that
exactly.
you know, you can put this where it needs to go to really flourish.
Yeah, because usually in your garden, you know, there's one spot that doesn't quite get enough sun, or the soil's not just right, so you want to use a good potting soil when you're doing this. Use a fertilizer, either a slow release, so as you water it, it'll release, or a liquid, and then that's more instant, so then that one you repeat.
Okay, and that's a good tip, because again, it's the fertilizing that people are sometimes worried about too, and you know, how often, how do I have to take care of this? But as you say, it really kind of does take care of itself for the most part, right?
It does.
Now, do you, with something like this, as it's before it actually gets its their fruit or their vegetables, do you need to be doing a lot of pruning and getting a lot in there?
Not a lot, but usually with tomatoes, if you start to see like little suckers coming out, you want to take those out. And also if you find it's getting a little bit leggy, then you can pinch it back and just take out the central leader, and then that'll force it to branch out a little bit more.
Because that's the thing, sometimes they'll just start to go, right, out of control. You want to keep them kind of low and full, right?
Exactly, and that's what I was mentioning. The more you harvest it, the better they are. And with the herbs, same way. Like the more you take off, like the little pinching, let's pinch off what you need, and then from that little point, you'll get 2 more branches coming out. So then you pinch those off, and then 2 more off of those 2. So it just keeps multiplying that way. And then same thing with the more branching you're going to have on your tomatoes and your peppers, and the more room there is to have more peppers and tomatoes.
Okay, good to know. Now, these little potatoes as well, easy enough to grow.
You can grow potatoes in containers.
Yes.
And especially depending on where you are, I have clay at my house, so I do grow potatoes in the garden, but I grew them in a container last year, and I couldn't believe how well they did. And it was super easy. And because they're in potting soil and not my clay soil, they just multiplied like crazy.
I was just going to ask you that. So you noticed a huge difference.
Huge difference,
that's the problem. You know, some of us do have that real clay soil.
Yeah, so things that you don't think of in a container that you'd grow underground. Carrots you can grow in containers. The potatoes, perfect idea.
Yeah,
onions.
you really, honestly, you wouldn't think that. You would think you just don't have enough room. Obviously, you need to have a little bit of depth for some of these, right? So
yeah, for something like that, bigger pot.
Be smart about your container. But really, it is possible for anybody to have their own little baby garden, and it's great for kids to get involved. And then by summertime, you've got all kinds of stuff going on.
Yeah,
it's fun. Well, thank you. Good information. And again, make sure obviously that your property water and the environment and the fertilizer. And yeah, it's not that complicated. I should not be scared of this. I'll just take this with me, and I'll have my salsa. You can come over and make my salsa for me, okay?
Okay.
Then I don't have to do anything. All right, that's it for now. Thanks, Colleen.
When I dream in color. When I think of color, I think of Terra. Make your dreams come true at Terra, where color lives.
You've sat under them and built forts in them. You've swung from them and fell out of them. You've even fallen in love under them. Trees have always held a special place in our hearts and memories. A natural beauty, trees will grow with you and your family and bring color and nature into your world. For your assurance of quality, look for trees and shrubs with the Medallion plant tag. Medallion plants, locally grown, the pride of Niagara.
Welcome back to Terra at Home. We're in this beautiful surroundings right now. I'm here with Dave Maciulis from Natural Landscape Magazine, and we're on Lake Ontario right now. We've managed to find ourselves a beautiful day here in spring, but we are talking a little bit about a lot of what means a lot to you in your magazine and the concept behind trying to stretch out what we've all often as Canadians look at a very limited season of outdoor time.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
We always say, well, we only have 2 months. You know what I mean? Sometimes we feel like that, right? Especially after coming up the winter we just had.
Oh, I mean, the extension of outdoor living space In Canada, I used to, for the last 25 years, people would say to me, well, we're only getting 4 or 5 months of really great weather. And that gave me challenges as a designer to say, how can we expand that? How can we extend that? And for years, as I used to dream over California or Arizona and these wall systems that would move, finally, when I met Natural Patio Light Covers, they had the answer to all my solutions for extending that outdoor lifestyle. And it's these walls that move. So you can take a patio, you can make a feeling of enclosure, but still have a surround 360-degree view. And of course, with this view, this lake is spectacular.
So this is prime, right? So we're looking, this is a prime example of what we're talking about. So here, especially being off the lake, you're going to be getting more extreme conditions as well, right?
That's right.
Whatever season you're in. So naturally the water, it's a big body of water, it's going to stay cool longer.
That's right.
And you're getting some extreme winds. So this is a perfect environment for a system like this.
It is. And these walls, they slide into place, and you have these panoramic views, but then you're protected from the wind.
Right.
And it does warm up, but of course the overhead structure has a bit of diffusing light, so it doesn't overheat you, so it's uncomfortable. It's actually very comfortable. And then you have that right through up until winter to enjoy that outdoor patio environment. So it's, again, an extension of outdoor Canadian living, and the challenges have finally been met, and I'm happy. You know, I'm happy that these guys are around. I
was going to say, well, as you were mentioning earlier, it'd be hard to talk people into doing something outside in their backyard when they're in their mind, well, I don't really want to invest that kind of money because I'm not going to be out here that much. But now, as you're saying, you're opening up their seasons, you're extending their period of time outdoors per se. But even if, as you say, when you have these glass doors shut, but they all do open up, but when you do have them shut, you're still you're enjoying your backyard space a little bit more.
That's right. Well, and actually one other thing with this system is we're on the lake. You have your breezes, you have your bugs. Yeah, and the brilliant thing about this is that just like a set of blinds, you can draw down a screen. So when the doors are wide open and you're still getting those nice breezes, but then in the evening the critters come out, close down the screens, and you still have that nice warm breeze, but no bugs.
So you're still getting that nice environment that we all love about summer, and the smells, and just that feeling of enjoying, as you say, airflow.
That's right.
But without the bugs, because that's really nice, especially if you wanted to have, one thing that's sometimes hard for people, they want to entertain outdoors and have meals and have food where bugs are just all over the place. Again, it's a great way to utilize that.
And the door system on this is also adaptable in other structures. Like you can actually integrate them into pavilions, into anything with an overhead structure. The wall system is very adaptable. In fact, we've had other clients call us up and say, we want these walls, we want these movable walls. Along with the overhead is a plus, but in a pavilion setting, again, people that are in very windy locations. So it's really been a joy for me to start designing outdoor living for 12 months out of the year.
To put into play, right?
Exactly.
So how does it work though with, I mean, obviously every space is different.
Yes.
So when you're coming by and they're coming by this company to measure and how is it, does it always work? Is there always a solution?
Yeah, actually they have engineers that figure out the wall span, post position. In fact, this client here, she did not want a post in the middle of that panoramic view, and they were able to engineer it, they designed it, and it worked out brilliantly.
That's smart, right? Because this is quite a large wall behind us here, this particular space, so having a pole right in the middle can be, I can see that being,
right?
You're able to achieve that.
Yeah, and what I love about this is, years ago too, when people were talking about extending that view, but they were putting up these permanent solariums that had no movable walls. But I'll tell you, the money that was being spent on those systems was just a little bit out of reach. This is very much within reach, and again, the design and engineering behind them is great.
Now, is this attainable for the average person, like the average income? Can they do something like this, or is this
Well, you know what? Everybody has a want and a need, and they set their budgets. And what's great about this company here is that they've actually will sit down and plan with you the size that they want and determine the budget that's comfortable. And I've seen more and more people putting in these systems over anything else because it is a bit more affordable.
Well, there you go. And so I guess you could also look at, different porch environments even in the smallest little home or condo environment, right? Because a lot of people are living in small spaces now.
That's right. Well, now even some of these homes that are building with the roof overhang over a porch, you can enclose that. For the people that have the back end of the house that's wide open, but they want to build a deck or a porch, actually you can build this on top of the deck, you can build it on top of a porch. As long as you got a good sound footing, that's not going to move, the system then is stable.
Right.
So yeah, that's the way to do it.
And so this is glass.
Yes.
All glass.
Yeah.
And then you've got that screen. So this screen on this one pulls down, right?
Yeah, and it's actually you just draw it down
it's
like
on a pulley system.
on a pull system.
Wow, amazing. So this just gives people a lot of possibilities. And again, it's adding all those elements that are missing from those solid glass walls that, again, those used to be great because they allow people to extend their space, especially if they are living in a small environment.
That's right.
But as you say, you're now just gone out into a little glass box.
That's right.
And it almost makes me feel slightly claustrophobic thinking about that. But now you have tons of options here.
Yeah, and you just slide them open, and you can extend them all the way to the side. And you have panoramic views.
Yes.
Close it right up when you have that wind coming out again, but you still have that view.
Oh, amazing. And again, obviously we're sitting in a perfect environment here right now.
Yes.
And there's lots of space here around for everybody. If they're having a big party out here, there's a pool, there's patios everywhere.
Yeah.
But some people, this is all they've got.
That's it.
And you've got to live and enjoy. And that's what I think is great. We come back to your magazine a little bit too, is that you're very much about throughout, we were talking about how personalized your magazine is and how you're always trying in different ways, besides this, trying to present to the average person here, especially, in Ontario, but, across Canada as well, in our climates, directly to us and Canadian clients, how you can use your space a little bit better.
Well, and that was the whole reason behind the magazine. I used to go into bookstores and I used to look at all the stuff from UK, the States, and really not seeing our Canadian audience have solutions to real Canadian problems. Some amazing stories that are happening across Canada, and I felt very passionate to start publishing Canadian designers, landscapers, new trends, the supplies where you can get them from, and now it's from East Coast to West Coast. We're in 192 stores.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I'm actually really happy to see
it's
that.
Good. It's really come together nicely, and again, as you say, it's all we can all connect because we're all Canadians and we understand our crazy environments that we live in. We can actually live with them and enjoy the space a little bit more.
Yeah.
So this was a good idea. So thanks for presenting this to us, and it's great for TERRA clients as well and all of our customers. It gives us another option. So something to now we can buy our plant life, we can do what we need to do, and we have another space outside, kind of inside outside to enjoy.
That's right.
Thanks so much,
well,
Dave
thanks for having me
Maciulis,
here.
Natural Landscape Magazine. All right, more TERRA at home after this.
When I dream in color. When I think of color, I think of TERRA. Make your dreams come true at TERRA, where color lives.
Heritage perennials. Look for us in the blue pots.
Good morning, welcome back to TERRA at Home. We're back with Chef Mark from La Piazza Allegra restaurant in Hamilton. And what are you doing today?
You know what, I'm kind of going back to a little bit of a traditional dish here, and we'll put a spin on it, of course, but we're making it very simple chicken piccata. A lot of people ask me, how do you make chicken piccata and stuff like that, so I've never really done one as a demonstration before, so I thought this is a good idea.
Some people like to have these sort of in their arsenal at home, right?
Exactly.
Something they can make.
Yeah.
All right.
So what we have is boneless, skinless chicken breast. Now, you can do this with boneless, skinless chicken breast, or you can do it with boneless, skinless chicken thighs. Okay? People tend to lean towards the chicken breast, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to trim off the excess fat that's left, and then we can split this right into two pieces.
Okay.
So I cut it right down the middle. If you end up with smaller pieces, it's not a problem.
Okay.
We're going to throw it into the bowl. And then actually, if you don't mind, Leslie, you can put a little salt and pepper on that, because we're going to do that at this point.
Okay.
Because what happens is we're going to end up flouring this, and if you try to salt and pepper it after, some of it sticks to the flour, some of it doesn't. So
okay.
it's always better to salt and pepper prior to flouring.
Okay.
Take that. Actually, we'll do the tender as well. There we go. And we'll split this one.
It's always good having a nice sharp knife in the kitchen too, right? I think a lot of people get so frustrated when they're cooking, and they just need to have sharp tools.
You do. You know, more people cut themselves on dull knives than you will on a sharp knife.
There you go, right?
So we're going to turn our pan on, and I'm going to put olive oil. You need a fair amount of olive oil because you do have the flour, which is going to soak up a lot of that oil anyway, so you don't have to worry too much about the fat there.
Okay.
So we've salt and peppered those. We have some flour. And you want to coat those really well because you want a nice coating on this.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to get that mixed around.
Now, could you use whole wheat flour? Can you for something like this? I've always wondered.
Yes.
Yes? He says that as a chef, like, why are you asking me this?
You know
I've
what?
always wondered if
Everything has its own flavors.
Right.
So when you use whole wheat, you're adding a nuttiness to the dish.
Right.
That if that's what you're looking for, then by all
Then
means
that's
use
okay.
it.
All right.
You know, when I do chicken piccata, I'm looking for that really light summer flavor. So I don't want anything with a nuttiness to it, but I mean it's
heavy and make way down. Okay.
exactly.
Okay.
That's the beauty about cooking, though. You can tailor it the way you like it. So we'll get it into the pan, and it doesn't have to be an extremely hot pan because you don't want to burn that olive oil because it is going to be finished in the oven.
Okay.
So we're going to put all that in and let it start browning slightly here.
I find I'm doing that so much more now, working with chefs, and a lot of it's about, cooking in the pan first and then taking it to the oven. Just, I guess you're getting a lot of the flavors first from putting it in the pan, right?
Yeah, you're sealing in the flavors because it's a more direct heat, but you do need that oven time just to kind of let everything incorporate and get some really nice flavors. I have some lemons here, which I've already sliced. We have some rosemary, and then we also have some sun-dried tomatoes, and I like sun-dried tomatoes in my chicken piccata. I think it adds a little bit of sweetness to it, but it can always be left out if you prefer not.
Because again, you're saying it's meant to be a very nice light dish, right?
Exactly.
So yeah, I know sometimes sun-dried tomatoes can be very intense flavor for people. Like people, I'm sure that they love them, right? Maybe just very finely sliced, but.
Yeah, and the way we're doing it here, we're going to put it into the pan, get some of that sweetness out, a little bit of the salt that comes along with sun-dried tomatoes. So that's going to come out in this dish as well. But if you don't want it, it can always sit on the side.
Okay.
So we'll throw that in there. I have rosemary. So I'm going to put some rosemary in. This will give it a little bit of that outdoor woodsy kind of,
right. I just love rosemary.
Yeah, it's got a beautiful aromatics to rosemary.
Of course, the lemon.
The lemon, okay. And then we have white wine. I'm going to put a little bit in first. What I'm going to do with this now is, now that I got everything off the bottom, I'm going to flip that so that the lemons are on the bottom of the pan, because sitting on top, they're just going to dry out. You're not going to get that lemon flavor.
Okay.
So we're going to put them on.
Yeah, so now they're really going to steam under there, right?
Exactly. And you got that moisture in there. We have some capers.
Okay.
Again, this is going to add a little bit of that saltiness to it, so you have to be careful with the dish. You've already salted the chicken, so when we're done, we can pull it out. If it needs a little more salt, you can add that at the end.
Perfect.
A little bit more control.
You want to be able to have control over. That's the worst thing. As you can never take it away. Once it's there, you can never take it away, right?
That's right. There are certain flavors that are very difficult to deal with when you're cooking, and salt if it's over salted, it's one of the more difficult ones to get away from.
counteract.
You know,
Yep.
you got to find a starch to go with it, which means throwing in a potato or something into this to absorb
to kind of
that.
help absorb and counteract all that.
Exactly.
Yeah, I did that once by accident years ago when I was very, very young. I used pure like, instead of making a stock, I made it like pure without boiling the water and watering it down or whatever. Yeah, it was very salty fish. That was my youth, and I learned very much very quickly from that. I couldn't fix it.
That's one of those where you call us up, and the rest of us say, on our way down for dinner because
my family's coming over. What do I do?
So you can see what is happening here. The flour's creating a bit of a sauce. We have that the acidity of the lemon. You got the rosemary. You got a little bit of sweetness and saltiness from this, and the white wine is all coming together nicely. I'm going to top it up with a little bit more white wine shortly, and then we're going to throw it into the oven, and then when we come out, we'll finish it.
Okay, so right now, how long would we put that in the oven for roughly? Did you say?
I would say, depending on how thick the chicken breast, like this one's, you know, decent size, you're probably looking at about 15 minutes.
Okay, all right.
And you
definitely
want to
make
take that time.
Your chicken is cooked.
Exactly.
All right, very good. That looks good. It smells so great. All right, we're going to come back. We'll continue to cook this, get it into the oven, and then we'll put it all together for you. And a nice lemon chicken piccata when we return.
When I dream in color. When I think of color, I think of TERRA. Make your dreams come true at TERRA, where color lives.
Welcome back. We're back with Chef Mark from La Piazza Allegra in Hamilton. And so this is smelling so good. I can smell the rosemary, and it's been pulled from the oven at this point. Chicken is cooked.
Yep, chicken's cooked all the way through. And like you said, all those aromas that you smell, is everything incorporated now. You got that rosemary, you got the acidity, everything's come together really nicely here. So there's a couple things you can do. If you find that you don't have enough liquid, there's always the white wine. You can always put a splash more. Okay.
It's just the appropriate amount, right? Because it's you can see the consistency. It has a little bit of a consistency to it, right?
Yep.
Like you can.
It's a little bit. It's thicker than water, but it's not saucy sauce. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to add a little bit of fat. You need a little bit of fat into this, and it's just because the amount of things that you have in this dish have so much acidity that you do need this, and this is where the balance is going to come. But you can see, I mean, that's all we put.
Yeah, for all of that dish.
That's right.
Now, what else do you pair that with when you're having a piccata like this?
You know what? A pasta is fantastic.
Yeah,
just a nice an all'olio pasta, a little linguine, a long noodle, something like that.
Amazing.
And away you go.
Can't you just picture this on a nice hot summer night in Italy?
Oh,
a glass of wine, and how lovely. This is fantastic. So as you're serving that, just remind everybody at home that you can also go onto our website, terragreenhouses.com, for these recipes that we prepare for you each week. And always nice to have our guest chef Markin from La Piazza.
Thank you.
Allegra.
Yes.
This is wonderful.
Enjoy doing this. This is a lot of fun.
Well, you do a great job, I'll tell you that. And it introduces us to a lot of, again, as you had mentioned, past shows about the fact that, obviously it's Italian, but you like to bring in some of the modern day flavors of, and you mix a little bit of all different parts of Italy.
I do. A little bit from the north to the south, everywhere. So we get some fresh lemon.
Beautiful.
And I just made a little quick star out of it for a garnish.
Oh, see, and that's how you make it extra fancy. Lovely. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So beautiful. Here, let's put that forward there so everyone can see. Awesome. Thank you so much, Chef Mark. That's it for now. Have yourself a great weekend.